Chapter 1. A Wounded Ship. The Galactic Council vessel limped through the void of space, its hull scarred and battered. Smoke and plasma vented from its shattered engines as emergency lights flickered across its decks. The ship had barely escaped destruction in its latest battle with the Reich, a brutal, war-hungry species whose conquest stretched across the galaxy. Now, with life support failing and its navigation systems disabled, the crew had no choice but to let the ship drift. Deep within the bowels of the ship, Captain Rel, a tall and slender member of the herbivorous Tarian species, sat in the flickering glow of a holographic star map. Sweat beaded on his furrowed brow as he watched their trajectory. They were heading toward an unknown system, an uncharted world. "Unknown system ahead, Captain," said Arlen, his chief engineer, struggling to steady himself as the ship shuddered again. "We have no choice but to ride the drift. If we attempt to fire the engines again, we risk complete failure." Rel gave a slow, deliberate nod. The crew had fought valiantly, but the Reich had been too strong. The Council's fleets were simply not built for war like this. Now, they were left stranded in space, with little hope of survival. Whatever lay in the system ahead, it was their only chance. Hours later, they found themselves approaching a blue-green planet, surrounded by an array of artificial satellites and space stations. Scanning systems barely operational, the crew struggled to analyze the data. The planet was teeming with life. Intelligent life. "Captain, we've entered a populated system," said Arlen, eyes wide. "We're not alone." Rel's pulse quickened. "Who are they?" Arlen looked up, shaking his head. "I can't be certain, but they are industrialized at least." Chapter 2. First Contact with Earth. Earth's defense networks lit up as the alien ship entered orbit, its damaged form setting off alarms across the globe. Within hours, hastily convened meetings took place in the heart of governments, while space agencies and military command centers buzzed with activity. The United Nations scrambled to address the situation. Alien life, and not just life, but wounded travelers from beyond the stars. When the Council ship sent out a desperate distress signal, humanity responded. Far below, at the SpaceX launch facility, the massive starship was prepared for launch. Loaded with engineers, personnel and materials, it was destined to become the first human vessel to carry people to an alien craft. The mission had been organized in record time, less than 24 hours, and the world watched as the silver spacecraft soared into the sky, reaching toward the unknown. When the starship docked with the alien vessel with surprising grace, the humans were met with anxious, wary eyes. The herbivorous Council crew, uneasy with humans' predator-like stares and unsettling smiles, were desperate for aid. Still, the humans worked quickly and efficiently, setting up medical triage stations and assessing the ship's damage. "We're here to help," said Elena Garza, one of the mission's chief engineers, extending her hand to Arlen, who hesitated before clasping it. "We'll get you down to Earth." While the humans stabilized the ship, emergency evacuations began. The alien crew members injured beyond their med-based capacity were transported down to Earth, where advanced human medical facilities took over their care in conjunction with alien doctors. Many in the crew had never imagined being on the surface of a planet like this, one so green and full of life. But there they were, treated in hospitals surrounded by human doctors and alien doctors alike, their alien forms blending with humanity's diverse cultures. Back in orbit, the real work began. Chapter 3. Humanity's Ingenuity. Human engineers and scientists worked alongside the Council crew, quickly familiarizing themselves with the alien technology. Where the herbivorous species had built their ships for longevity and reliability, the humans approached the problems with startling speed and efficiency. Rel and Arlen watched in disbelief as the humans made intuitive leaps, quickly understanding complex systems that had taken their species generations to master. Elena Garza and her team, working closely with Arlen, began coordinating the repairs. What had been thought to take weeks was accomplished in mere days. Human engineers moved swiftly, often staying up for days on end, until the ship was stable enough to descend to Earth for a thorough overhaul. "I've never seen anything like it," Arlen murmured to Rel, as they watched the humans weld alien alloys with perfect precision. "They're adapting to our technology faster than we can teach them." Rel nodded, deeply unsettled. There was something about these humans, a dangerous efficiency, a latent aggression behind their smiles. But the results spoke for themselves. Finally, after several tense days, the ship made a controlled descent into Earth's atmosphere, landing in a secure zone designated for alien technology. The repairs would continue on the ground, but already the Council crew had seen enough to know these humans were far more capable than they'd anticipated. Chapter 4. A Decision to Make. With the Council ship undergoing repairs on Earth, the crew found themselves facing a new challenge: whether to trust these humans. They were omnivores, after all. The humans had proven resourceful, but the crew couldn't shake the instinctual fear their presence invoked. They had seen the hunger in their eyes, the way they moved with purpose, so much like the predators their ancestors had fled from. Captain Rel called a meeting with his senior officers, gathered in the ship's newly repaired conference room. "We must tell them," Rel said firmly. "They need to know about the war, about the Reich. If they understand the threat, perhaps they will be ready when the day comes." Arlen frowned. "And what if they become a threat themselves? Humans are omnivores. Their revolt to survive at all costs." "We don't have a choice," Rel replied gravely. "The Council is crumbling. We need their help." Back on Earth, the debate raged as well. The United Nations convened to discuss the revelation, a galactic war raging between the Council and an omnivorous empire bent on domination. Many were wary. Why should humanity involve itself in an interstellar conflict? Others saw the Reich as an inevitable threat to Earth, should they continue their conquests unchecked. "They're coming for us sooner or later," argued one diplomat. "We need to stand with the Council." "Or we'll be next," said another grimly. After weeks of intense negotiations and secret talks with the Galactic Council representatives, Earth made its decision. Humanity would join the fight. It was not a choice made lightly, but with the looming threat of the Reich, the risk of inaction was too great. Chapter 5. 2 years later. It had been 2 years since first contact with the Galactic Council. Humanity had integrated into the galactic conflict faster than anyone could have predicted. The Council, despite their initial mistrust of humanity's omnivorous nature, quickly realized the value of their new allies. Human engineers had not only helped repair ships, but had improved the Council's fleet efficiency, introducing innovations that even the most advanced herbivorous species had never considered. Now, across Earth, hundreds of millions of new personnel were training, preparing to serve on Council ships. Combat divisions were being equipped with a blend of human and alien technology, while Earth's finest tacticians studied Council military doctrines and adapted them to human strengths. What had once been a peaceful, space-curious world was now a bustling hab of military preparation, on a scale never before seen. White, pristine uniforms had become a common sight in cities across the globe. They were everywhere, on the streets, in public transit, at cafes and marketplaces. Humanity had embraced its role, preparing to enter the war on a scale that neither they nor the Council had seen before. Diplomats and military leaders on both sides had spent the last 2 years working out the details of Earth's involvement. Small human contingents had already served aboard Council ships, taking part in skirmishes against the Reich for over a year. But what was about to happen dwarfed all previous efforts. Humanity's mobilization was about to reach a new level: full-scale involvement in a galactic war. And yet, despite all the cooperation and alliances, the herbivorous species of the Galactic Council still couldn't shake their fear. Humans are too clever, too aggressive. They were omnivores, creatures capable of consuming everything in their path. Still, they needed them. The final preparations were underway. Soon, the galaxy would learn what humans were truly capable of. The war was coming. Chapter 6. The Tide Turns. 3 years into humanity's full-scale involvement in the Galactic War, the galaxy had witnessed a remarkable shift in tactics and strategy. Humanity had not only proven itself capable, but had reshaped the very nature of warfare within the Galactic Council. Initially skeptical, the herbivorous species of the Council had come to realize that human ingenuity and aggression, once viewed as dangerous liabilities, were their greatest assets against the Reich. The Battle of Zillar's Reach was the first clear sign of humanity's tactical brilliance. The Zillar system, rich in vital resources, had been under Reich control for months. Previous Council attempts to liberate the system had failed due to the Reich's overwhelming firepower and entrenched positions. However, human officers, observing the failures, proposed a new strategy, one that combined both alien and human technologies in ways the herbivorous species had never considered. Human strategists designed a multi-layered feint. They used fast, nimble human ships to simulate a full frontal assault on the system's defense platforms, drawing the Reich fleet away from their supply lines. Meanwhile, under the cover of a massive iron storm, the bulk of the Council fleet, now commanded by human officers, slipped behind enemy lines and launched coordinated strikes on supply depots and logistics hubs. The result was chaos for the Reich. Their supply lines crippled, their fleet isolated, they were forced into a disorganized retreat. The humans then employed one of their most devastating tactics: orbital bombardment, followed by rapid planetary assaults. Using a combination of Council troop transports and newly designed human dropships, they deployed ground forces with staggering speed, retaking the planet in weeks, where the Council had failed for months. Zillar's Reach was the first in a string of victories led by human officers. It was a resounding testament to humanity's military evolution. No longer were they simply filling roles on alien ships. They were leading the charge, introducing revolutionary tactics like blitz warfare, guerrilla strikes, and deep reconnaissance operations that baffled the Reich. Chapter 7. Trust and Technology. With every victory, humanity's reputation grew. After 3 years of fighting alongside the Galactic Council, Earth had earned not just trust, but respect. The herbivorous species, who once viewed humans with suspicion, now began sharing the Council's most closely guarded secrets. Full schematics of their advanced ships, FTL technology, and weapon systems were transferred to Earth. This marked a turning point. Humanity, which had been reliant on the Council's fleet for its initial participation in the war, quickly took advantage of this newfound trust. Earth's factories, already churning at full capacity to supply soldiers and weapons, pivoted to mass-produce its own fleet of starships. The first wave of human-designed ships combined the best of both worlds: the reliability and endurance of Council designs, fused with the rapid adaptability and combat efficiency that defined human ingenuity. Within months, the first human fleet, built entirely by Earth using alien technology, was deployed. These ships were leaner, faster, and armed with devastating railguns and plasma weapons, designed specifically for the hit-and-run tactics that had become humanity's hallmark in the war. The Spearhead-class frigates were especially feared, their speed and firepower unmatched by anything in the Reich's fleet. As human veterans returned from the front lines, their feedback was incorporated into the designs of new ships. Veterans suggested improvements to targeting systems, shield technology, and maneuverability. In just a few short years, Earth's shipyards were turning out increasingly sophisticated designs that eclipsed even the Council's most advanced vessels. Chapter 8. The Battles of Esgor and Alton Rift. The Battle of Esgor was a major turning point in the war. The Esgor system had been under siege by the Reich for months, with the Council forces entrenched in a desperate defense. The herbivores were losing ground, unable to match the sheer ferocity of the Reich's relentless attacks. With resources dwindling and morale faltering, human commanders were called in to devise a new plan. Led by Admiral Jonathan Hale, A rising star in the human ranks, the humans executed a daring and unprecedented maneuver. Rather than reinforcing the defensive lines, Hale proposed abandoning the fortified positions altogether. His strategy relied on exploiting the Reich's tendency to overextend in pursuit of victory. By luring the Reich fleet deep into the system, the humans planned to cut off their retreat with fast-moving attack squadrons and collapse their formation from behind. It was a gamble that paid off. As the Reich forces surged forward, confident in their impending victory, they found themselves trapped. Human ships struck with lightning precision, cutting off escape routes and hammering the Reich fleet with a combination of railgun fire and plasma missiles. The battle was over in days, and the Reich fleet was annihilated. At Alton Rift, a system on the edge of known space, human ingenuity again changed the course of the war. The Rift was a notorious navigational hazard, a region of space riddled with gravitational anomalies and unstable asteroid fields. The Reich believed it to be impassable, using it as a natural barrier. However, human navigators, using advanced slip-space calculations, plotted a daring course through the rift. When the Reich fleet, stationed on the other side, received word of human forces approaching, they were caught off guard. Human forces emerged from a rift in a surprise flanking maneuver that devastated the Reich fleet. The victory at Alton Rift cemented humanity's reputation as master strategists, capable of turning even the most hostile environments to their advantage. Chapter 9. The Rise of Human Officers. With each victory, more human officers rose through the ranks of the Council's military structure. Initially placed as advisors and second-in-command positions, they soon began to take command of entire fleets. The herbivorous species, once reluctant to let humans take full control, now saw them as essential to their survival. Admirals like Jonathan Hale and Catherine Carter became household names throughout the galaxy. Their leadership and tactical acumen reshaped the way the Council waged war. Human officers were not just adapting to existing strategies, they were rewriting them. They introduced concepts like rapid deployment, multi-front assaults, and attrition warfare, which the herbivorous species had never considered due to their slower, more methodical nature. After 5 years of sustained combat, the Galactic Council officially recognized human officers as equal to their own. Humans began to serve as fleet commanders, leading joint operations with alien species under their command. What had once been a mistrustful alliance had become a fully integrated force, with humans and aliens fighting side by side across dozens of warfronts. Chapter 10. The First Human High Admiral. 10 years after humanity's first contact with the Galactic Council, a historic moment occurred. Following a series of decisive victories, and the growing prominence of human leadership in the war, the Council made an unprecedented decision to appoint a human as High Admiral of all Galactic Council forces. The decision was met with mixed reactions. While many in the Council acknowledged humanity's indispensable role in the war, others still harbored deep mistrust of their omnivore instincts. But the facts were undeniable. No one had done more to turn the tide of the war than humanity. Admiral Catherine Carter, whose leadership had been instrumental in major victories at Zillar's Reach and Alton Rift, was chosen as the first ever human High Admiral. Her appointment marked a turning point not just in the war, but in the relationship between humanity and the rest of the galaxy. Carter's calm, calculated demeanor, combined with her razor-sharp tactical mind, had earned her the respect of even the most skeptical alien species. Under her command, the Council's forces were restructured into a more agile, coordinated fighting force. Her strategies focused on overwhelming the Reich through coordinated multi-system campaigns, leveraging humanity's newly designed fleets to strike fast and hard. Her influence spread not just through the military, but through the Council itself, as other species began to adopt human methods in politics, diplomacy, and science. Chapter 11. A Galaxy Transformed. With the appointment of High Admiral Carter, humanity had cemented its place as a dominant force in the galaxy. The Council, once wary of the humans' omnivore nature, now relied on them not just for their military prowess, but for their ingenuity and strategic brilliance. The war, though not yet over, had turned decisively in the Council's favour, thanks to the efforts of their human allies. Human-designed ships now patrolled the stars, carrying the legacy of Earth into battle. The galaxy was forever changed by humanity's rise. Chapter 12. A Question of Instinct. The war had dragged on, but with the appointment of High Admiral Catherine Carter, the Council was shifted into an offensive stance. Human-designed ships dominated the stars, and Council fleets, now restructured with human influence, delivered crushing blows to the Reich. Yet despite the string of victories, an unsettling question had begun to surface among the herbivorous species of the Council. It started in hushed whispers after the Battle of Terra's Moor, a key conflict where human marines had overwhelmed Reich forces with such speed and precision that even their alien allies were left awestruck. The marines fought relentlessly, driving Reich soldiers into retreat. The sheer aggression, the calculated efficiency of their attacks, it didn't feel like the way the herbivores fought, and it certainly didn't feel like the way the Reich fought either. Council commanders, who had served with both human and Council troops, began to notice something even more peculiar. When the Reich soldiers fought, they were savage, yes, but almost desperate, wild and disorganized under pressure. But the humans? They were controlled, focused. More than that, they were ruthless. It was as if they thrived in the chaos of war. The herbivores grew increasingly anxious. There had always been an unspoken fear about the humans, something deeply ingrained in the instincts of every herbivore species. But now, watching humanity in the heat of battle, that fear began to crystallize. It wasn't just that humans were omnivores, they were predators, and they were far more dangerous than anyone had realized. Chapter 13. Persistence Hunters. It was during a high-level council meeting, one of many where human and alien military leaders strategized for the ongoing campaign, that the question finally erupted into the open. Admiral Hale, Carter, and several human officers stood on one side of the room reviewing a tactical map. Council species representatives and commanders stood opposite, visibly nervous. "There's something we've noticed, Admiral Carter," began a tall bird-like species named Vrillen, a senior strategist from the Ruri race. He ruffled his feathers, eyes narrowing at the humans. "Your soldiers fight differently, more focused, aggressive, even compared to the Reich. It's disturbing." The room fell silent as the herbivores watched Carter. She didn't flinch. Instead, she folded her arms and exchanged a glance with Admiral Hale before responding. "Of course we do," she said, matter-of-factly. "We're predators." The statement sent ripples of shock through the council members. They had known, on some level, that humans were omnivores. But predators? Not even the Reich had ever admitted such a thing. Vrillen was the first to find his voice again. "But the Reich are omnivores too. We have studied them. They are brutal, opportunistic carnivores, yet they don't display the same calculated viciousness that your people do." Carter's expression didn't change. "That's because the Reich are not true predators," she said. "They're opportunistic scavengers at their core. Sure, they'll fight when they have the upper hand, but when things get tough, they panic. They break. They're not like us." "Not like you?" Vrillen pressed. "No," Carter continued, her voice steady. "We are persistence hunters." The council members blinked in confusion. "Persistence hunters?" Vrillen asked cautiously. Admiral Hale stepped forward, his eyes cold and sharp. "It's simple. For tens of thousands of years, our ancestors hunted prey across the plains of Earth. But we didn't do it like scavengers. We didn't rely on speed or strength. We relied on our ability to endure. We could run for hours, days without stopping. We'd track our prey, chase it until it collapsed from exhaustion, then move in for the kill. We didn't just fight to survive. We fought to win, relentlessly." The room was tense, every alien commander frozen in place. The image of humans as patient, tireless hunters sent a shiver through the herbivorous council members. Carter leaned forward slightly.
That's why we're different. The Reich soldiers, they've never had to hunt. Their species adapted to scavenge, to take advantage of opportunity. But we hunted for our survival. We ran after prey, calculated every move until they had nothing left to give. That's what we do in battle now. We outlast, outthink, and outfight because it's in our nature.
The herbivores exchanged uneasy glances. Suddenly, the pattern they had seen in battle made sense. The Reich soldiers had always been vicious, but when the tide turned against them, they faltered. The humans, though, humans pursued with an intensity that left no room for retreat. Chapter 14. The fear becomes real. After the revelation, Council species began looking at the humans in a new light. They were more than allies. They were something to be feared. The notion of predators fighting alongside them was unsettling. Whispers of mistrust began to surface again. If the humans were truly such relentless predators, then what was stopping them from turning their sights on the Council once the war ended? Yet, at the same time, the humans were now essential to the war effort. Without them, the Council would have been decimated long ago. The war had been dragging on for 10 years, and with every battle, humanity's contributions became more vital. The Battle of Vornis Field was another example of humanity's predatory instincts on full display. The Reich had fortified the Vornis system using asteroid fields as natural defenses. Their ships were stationed behind massive floating rocks, using them as shields to fire intermittently on the Council fleet. It was a classic siege strategy, one that would have taken the herbivorous species weeks to break. But Admiral Hale didn't play by the Reich's rules. Instead of engaging in a protracted siege, he unleashed a flanking maneuver that only a human could have devised. Using newly designed stealth ships, sleek, agile vessels outfitted with plasma weapons, he moved through the asteroid field like a hunter stalking its prey. The Reich fleet never saw them coming. Within hours, the human ships emerged from the shadows, striking at the heart of the Reich's command ships. It was a slaughter. The Reich, disoriented and outmaneuvered, crumbled. Human marines landed on the planet in waves, hunting down the remaining soldiers with ruthless efficiency. Once again, the herbivores on the ground watched in awe and terror as the humans moved through the battlefield with predator-like focus. The Reich soldiers, panicking, tried to flee, but there was no escape. The victory was decisive, but it left an uneasy feeling among the Council members. The humans had proven again just how effective they were in war, but at what cost? How long could they maintain such an alliance with a species that seemed more dangerous than their enemy? Chapter 15. A Galaxy of Predators. As the war reached its final stages, the truth of humanity's nature spread throughout the galaxy. The Reich, once seen as the greatest threat, now paled in comparison to the relentless human war machine. Council species, despite their reliance on human leadership, found themselves wary of the very forces they had come to depend on. During a private meeting between Admiral Carter and the Council's governing body, one of the oldest members, a wise, herbivorous diplomat from the Darish species, finally asked the question that had been on everyone's mind.
"Admiral," the Darish elder said slowly, "are you all like this? Your species? Hunters? Is this what we should expect after the war?"
Carter didn't hesitate.
"Yes, we're all like this. We've evolved this way, through struggle, through survival. We're predators, but that doesn't mean we're your enemies. Not unless you make us one."
The Darish elder's eyes darkened, but he nodded slowly.
"And what of the Reich? Why do you surpass them so easily?"
Carter smiled, but there was no warmth in it.
"Because unlike the Reich, we didn't sit back and wait for the weak to fall. We fought our own battles, hunted our own prey, and earned our survival. The Reich took the easy way. That's why they lose. And that's why we win."
Chapter 16. The Final Campaign. With the truth of humanity's nature out in the open, the Council had little choice but to fully embrace the humans' leadership. There was no turning back now. The final campaign against the Reich was launched with humans leading every major battle. Their ships, now the most advanced in the galaxy, were designed with the precision and efficiency of predators hunting their prey. As the Reich's territories fell one by one, the galaxy watched as humanity, once the smallest, most insignificant player in a vast cosmic conflict, rose to become its most feared and revered force. Every battle was a testament to their relentless nature. Every victory was a reminder that predators rule the stars now. But as the war drew to a close, the herbivores of the Council knew one thing for certain. The humans had changed the galaxy forever. Predators had taken their place among the stars, and there was no going back. The war was over. But the era of predators had just begun.